Hello, and welcome to Work Well with Stephanie Wolf, brought to you by the Whole Food Health Coach, LLC, where we make your goals our goals, and you're never alone on your wellness journey. Experience the information, inspiration, and collaboration of our Coach in Your Corner partnership. My name is Stephanie Wolf, and I'm a national board-certified health and wellness coach and the proud owner of the Whole Food Health Coach, now in its 9th year, and 5-time winner of the Best of Gwinnett County Award. I'm so excited. Rachel, Sherry, and I invite you to visit wholefoodhealthcoach.com so you can set up your 60-minute healthy living assessment. Our award-winning 3-phase program could change your life. Work Well is brought to you this weekly podcast, and it's dedicated to your personal and professional health and wellness. I offer examples from my own life, health, marriage, family, and business. I share my research, my opinions, and my faith, designed to bring you compelling content, engaging challenges, and practical body, soul, and spirit support while you're on your wellness journey. So I'm your wellness friend, and Work Well comes to you from my personal desire to live long and strong with passion and purpose, die of old age, and help others to do the same. So now from living rooms to boardrooms, via Business RadioX, you're listening to Work Well with Stephanie Wolf. So I love to start every segment with a funny story. And today, in keeping with the topic of our April season that we're in right now, if you're listening in April, is teenage driver. So a teenage boy just passed his driver's test and asked his dad if he could start driving the family car. The dad said he'd make a deal with his son. You bring up your grades from a C to a B average, study your Bible a little bit, and get your hair cut, and we will talk about the car. The boy thought about that for a moment, decided he'd settle for that offer, and agreed on it. After about 6 weeks, the dad said, "Son, you've brought your grades up. I've observed that you're spending some time in the Bible, and I'm still a little disappointed that you haven't gotten your hair cut." The boy said, "You know, Dad, I've been thinking about that, and I've noticed in my studies in the Bible that Samson had long hair, John the Baptist had long hair, Moses had long hair, and there's even strong evidence that Jesus had long hair." His dad replied, "Did you also notice that they walked everywhere they went?" I hope that made you at least smile. And walking is good for you. Do you know that yesterday actually was National Walking Day? I'm like, what? That sounds awesome. And I walk pretty much every day. So that was great. And today in the studio, I have a friend and a professional with me. Carrie Thompson is with us, and I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a minute. But if you've been listening to our podcast, then you know that every week I seek to give you inspiration and information on lots of different topics. And since I don't know everything about everything, and I know if you ask me, you might think I do, but I don't, and I love the professionals that I have around me that know what they need to know and are helping people. And Carrie is one of those people. So I'm all about encouraging you to maybe challenge yourself or change something, improve something, let go of something, pick up something, start something, restart something, or at least start a healthy dialogue to move you in that direction. So this year, we started off with new beginnings. We changed a lot of things. In January, we set some things in motion. And in February, we talked about heart health. And last month was Marvelous Marriage Marathon Month with my husband, Jack. And I know you're disappointed he's not here today, but I also know you're going to love Carrie. So you're going to have that blessing today. In the month of April, I'm going to talk about healthy communities. How do we build a healthy community? And there's a lot to be said along those lines. So we're going to be talking to counselors like today, as well as our, coaches and classes and organization and professionals and volunteers and all of those people who really make community a very blessed place. So welcome, Carrie.
Thank you, Steph. It's a joy to be here. I'm really glad. Thanks.
Awesome. So as you know, the programs that I've designed are a 5-fold grip on health, I call it. And I use the word CLEAN as an acronym, and it stands for character, or our core values, those things that really live inside of us and drive us. And then lifestyle, and that's how we live out those things. Exercise is pretty important for mental health and really emotional health as well as physical health. Attitude, how we think about things, and nutrition, how we fuel. And that's who I am. And so everything I've created on all of our wellness programs is based on those clean concepts for healthy living. And I believe they're the foundation for the coaching and the training that we do at Whole Food Health Coach. And because of that, I think I've found in my own life anyway, that strength and stability that foundation gives me. So I'm sure that you've heard our podcasts. Yes, Sherry?
Yes,
I'm sure.
Love it. Oh, so it's such a blessing to so many people.
Good. So if it doesn't matter whether it's corporations or small groups or families or marriage or individuals, these concepts seem to be a real principle in people's lives, and it's woven throughout our workshops and, of course, private sessions. And so it's kind of the foundation for everything I do. And I think they're pretty powerful words, and they affect our well-being in all these areas as well as our health, and they contribute to the balance that we're looking for, because I think in this day and time we do feel a little bit out of balance at times. And so character, lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition. And today we're starting our series called Spring Clean. So spring cleaning, using the acronym, and spring cleaning your house, your home, your community, because it's that time of year. So I love to look up definitions. So I kind of dug in a little bit to what does spring cleaning mean exactly? I mean, I know we're going to clean our house, but we're going to go a little farther than that in our series in April. So spring is the time when maybe the old starts disappearing and the brown colors start being replaced with more colorful plants and fresher type colors of spring and all that fun stuff that is a part of spring. And so the old disappears and the new starts appearing. And to clean that acronym, or to discuss that a little bit further, I looked it up. It says to clean all of the place. You know, sometimes we clean a little bit here and a little bit there, or if companies come in, we clean what they see, throw things in the closet, hide whatever we can hide. Mm-hmm. And we're really about cleaning the whole place is what it says, especially your house. It also says doing it very well. And again, instead of taking the shortcuts or making shortcuts. And then it also says some of those parts that you do not often clean. And a lot of times when it comes to mental or emotional issues or just our own mind, we want to stay, on the positive side. And if you look at my Stephanie Joe Wolf Facebook page, it looked like I'm having fun all the time. We were just talking about that at our lunch before coming in. It all looks like, it's all fun and games, right? But we work hard, don't we?
Yes.
There's a lot to be done, and it can be exhausting at times. It's very rewarding work, and I can't wait to hear all of that from you as well. And then the other side of it is the goal of spring cleaning is to tidy up or freshen up things. So some things might need a coat of paint, or, planting the new flowers. Jack and I love to do that. So freshening up your living space. And it talks about the new season that's rolling in. And again, just reminding us that every day is a new day. We can turn that calendar page. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Monday that we start everything, or the first day of the month, or any of that, because we can start that new season at any time. And then the act of cleaning can also have that positive effect, and there's so much science behind it, on your mental and physical well-being. So cleaning up around the house and doing the deep clean and getting rid of some things and freshening up some things and planting some flowers. And I brought you a little plant today because I think it just made me smile when I saw it. So today I have with me Carrie Thompson. And Carrie is a licensed professional counselor and national board certified counselor working in individual and family counseling for the past 12 years. She's also a licensed school counselor. Carrie is in her 11th year of guiding students in K through 12 Christian schools, where she teaches skills, supports parents and teachers, and responds to mental, emotional, and social needs of her students. Carrie and her husband, Michael, have the joy of parenting 4 adult children. She has a passion for hiking, biking, kayaking, skiing. She is an outdoor adventurist. I'm a wannabe. I can live vicariously through all of your adventures and your travel. In fact, this week when we talked on the phone to discuss a little bit about what we'd be doing today, you were stopping in Tennessee to go for a hike. I'm like, you're on your way back from a conference and you found a place to go for a hike. I'm like,
beautiful too.
I just got to hear more about that. So Carrie's committed to carefully stewarding the health of her body and mind and relationships. And she's been blessed with so many because we all love her so much. She's got a lot of people in her corner and a lot of people she has been in the corner for. So I'm glad that she's one of the first people that's sharing her story a little bit today and going to help you in tackling some of those kind of things that she helps other people tackle. But she loves, she's gifted and has the resources and the opportunities that she's been given and her licensure and certifications and all of the things that she's done. But she also is thing that's important to her is taking care of the earth. And so I was laughing. She has her computer in front of her and I have all these papers. So I'm like, I'm so sorry that so many trees had to give their life for all my pages and papers that that tend to help me to, I said they're kind of training wheels, but Carrie has a strong desire to help you in every endeavor that you have as well in the areas of wellness and health. And so I'm just going to turn it over to Carrie and let her take it from here. Tell us a little bit about, I guess you could go back and tell people how we know each other, but anything else, maybe what led you to this particular area of serving the community?
What a great question. Well, I'm thankful to be here, Stephanie. It is always an honor to join you in any of your work and ministry and making the world a better place. And that has always been a desire of my heart since I was a young child. I knew that I wanted to just created as a listener. I am much more about listening and supporting others than I am about serving my own personal needs. And so I'm thankful that I'm also a very non-judgmental person. So I just love to help people as you do to get to a healthier place in their life. And for me, that has been done for the past, really 20, 30 years. I've worked a lot with children and families, just as they've encountered challenges, whether they were learning challenges or emotional challenges, or I actually have a passion for health as well. And so, Steffi, it's been so wonderful to talk through ways to that even that gut-mind interaction can help people to have a more stable and happier life just by what they feed themselves and what they do with their body as well. So I like to integrate that in my work as well. So
that's great because that definitely is the fuel. We can fuel our mind in lots of different ways, and fueling our body really actually fuels our mind as well.
Yes.
So some people miss that. It's not just about, what you hear and what you see, but also what you take in and, nutritional side of things. So what else? What's the driving force?
Yeah, and driving force is just to continue to help, children and individuals to get where they need to go. More so. And I loved your intro with the spring cleaning. It's really gotten me thinking of how through the pandemic, it's been such a, there were people who really spent that time cleaning in their homes, and some of us got busy continuing to work virtually, and but that it was that period of time that now that we're 3 years out, that I feel like people are, so much has come to the surface, and that people are realizing that there's been an impact in their mind, body, and spirit that needs a little dusting off and a little, and so I'm thankful that folks are talking about it and are concerned, for the young people that have been, evidencing more anxiety or depression or just have been socially impacted, and that we're able to tend to those needs and don't have to just stand by and worry or kind of conjure about like why those things are, but more so get to the work of how to help to build resilience through this time. So I think this is great, that a good topic for this spring cleaning.
Good, yes. So I think spring cleaning is something we only think about in a physical term, I think, for the most part. So I love that, it's kind of an idea that I had to kind of dig in a little bit more to our personal lives rather than just our house and the one of the articles that I read about spring cleaning was about how you'd see the women shaking the rugs out and beating it with a rug cleaner. I'm like, that's where the term came from years and years ago. And I thought, I don't know that I've done that in a very long time. Maybe the mat that is in front of my doorway. But anyway, it was like that's where it came from a long time ago. But I love what you said about listening, because you definitely are a great listener. You have such a compassion in your heart and in your eyes. So when I have shared life with you and we've talked, that's something that I think is almost missing in our world, is someone that actually is listening.
And such a needed thing in our day-to-day world. And so, like, all of us are able to acquire that, even if we aren't naturally gifted with that. And it's one of the things that I really like to encourage parents and teachers and just any individual that happens to encounter children, which is any of us. If you go to the grocery store or you go to, happen to be in a park or anything, you're likely to see a child. And one of the greatest things is to stop and listen and actually hear how someone, what they might be experiencing. I think that, life brings a lot of challenges, and any one of us might be in distress at any given point in time. And actually, I'm eager to share if those of you that may not know about like our amygdala, which tends to react when in stressful situations. And I teach young children to understand this as young as kindergarten. I think it's I'm like you, Stephanie, where I think prevention and being proactive and teaching people what's going on in their bodies and minds so that they can be well prepared for those moments when they do get dysregulated, when their emotions take over, or when they're with a friend or a family member who is dysregulated. So I teach.
Can you explain that word for our audience and for myself? Dysregulated. What would you mean by that?
So just when you're feeling overwhelmed, or your emotions are running the show.
Okay.
Where you're not able to maybe make real logical decisions and this happens to us all day long, whether we're just super angry behind the wheel or super sad. I call, a lot of the emotions can just get supersized for a minute or hours for some people. So dysregulated is, could be really tearful, could be racing heart, could be kind of your mind is a snow globe. I'd like to describe it. It's just that, and anybody that's experienced that can immediately understand that concept of when you can't quite get your thoughts sorted out. Those of us that struggle with, ADHD symptoms know how, not knowing what to start with first or what problem-solving strategy to choose at that moment. And a lot of times that's because our amygdala, that center part of our brain, the small almond-shaped part of our brain that is taking in information all day long and letting us know that there's something urgent happening that we need to tend to. And it's a wonderful thing that God's created in us to help us survive, but it can tend to cause us to either know we need to respond with an action, run away or hide, or just go along with things and try to keep the peace. So there's the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response that our amygdala is getting information, and we're trying to choose or make a really rapid. Our body kind of intrinsically just makes a rapid decision of which of those things to do. And it's not always getting accurate information. Our amygdala is sometimes reacting to just a bodily symptom. It may be your heart is suddenly racing and it thinks, oh, something urgent is happening, and you need to react to this. And so it's not always that there is an urgency. So,
And doesn't it sometimes get stuck in like the on position? And that's when in my world we talk about acute stress and chronic stress. And when next month when we talk about work-life balance, we'll get deeper in this. So I'm so glad you're bringing this up now because you're setting the stage perfectly, Carrie. But and helping our listeners. But the one thing I was going to mention is chronic stress is something that is dangerous for us. Acute stress comes on us quickly and it's supposed to come and go, but it doesn't always go. If it gets stuck in the on position and we live, that amygdala is constantly in that stuck position, is where then that chronic stress, day in, day out, all the time, is wear and tear on our body. It's wear and tear on our brain and our heart. And when we do need the fight or flight, sometimes we don't have what we really need because it's worn out, or maybe it's like, oh, this is just another one of those things that we deal with day in and day out. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to make sure I shared some of that.
It cues a lot of more information because it can be it is depleting. It is meant to turn back off, and when we go into that reaction, it down turns our dopamine and serotonin for a period of time. So we don't need to feel calm or happy when there's an urgent emergency. And it shoots up that cortisol or adrenaline. So if we do get stuck and we're in alert a lot of the day, it's not meant to be that way. It's meant to reset, like you said, and then we can return to calm. We can become regulated again.
Okay.
So from dysregulation back to being regulated, and we can, and then our dopamine can kick back in, serotonin. We can get our happy chemicals back flowing. The cortisol reduces, so our body can release those toxins and can be calm again, and that we can get ready to move on with our day. But if we live in a higher state of emergency and of alert, it tends to
decrease all those
good chemicals.
Wow.
And so a lot of time, and actually in my world, we end up with children or family members that are coming thinking, oh wow, I think I'm depressed, or I'm showing signs of depression. And a lot of times it's just those depleted chemicals in their system, and that they don't have to, by learning some good skills of how to calm their amygdala, how to stay in a calmer state, or how to boost their dopamine with, being in the sun, getting exercise, doing some calming activities during their day, breathing, and getting good calming breaths so that they're not living in an alarm state for so long. And also that amygdala, when it's in that alarm state, it grows stronger. It's like a muscle almost. It gets to where it activates more quickly, and we want to train our amygdala to listen to our rational, calming thoughts, and to be able to get back to a quiet space, so that we can use our executive functioning, the forward part of our brain, and we can make good decisions.
Our agency, and having that control, or that self-control. And I know there's a way to self-care, and in that word self-control, there's a way to self-care. So it's not always stop doing something. Sometimes it's more start doing something different, and replacing those things, I think. And we're more than just physical beings. We're mental, emotional, spiritual beings. So caring for the whole person can bring that health and wellness that we're looking for. And that's what I'm hearing you say. And one of the things that I use a lot is the quote, "A clearly defined problem is half the solution." And I think a lot of times we just stay in that, like you called it, I think, the state of alert or alarm almost, just because we don't know really what the problem is. Sometimes we are searching for it like there's one solution, and there's usually not just one solution for any one problem. And if we don't really know what the problem is, then sometimes we throw a blanket term like I'm depressed, or might just be tired and not sleeping well, or not resetting and letting your sleep do what it was created to do. And so I love some of that. I'll just put an exclamation point on the end of what you're saying there.
Right. Yeah, it's true. And sometimes that feeling of not being able to figure out what's wrong with me or is something wrong with me, is also, it's a skill that I teach to the young ones all the way up is, a general kind of comfortable term would be like a conveyor belt thought. It's that all day long we have about 65,000 thoughts that just run through our brain, give or take, depending on how your brain operates. But, and so, is we have been exposed, as young people are exposed to information that is beyond them or beyond their years, or is just new and they're not sure what to do with it. We all have these thoughts that pass by our kind of on this conveyor belt in our mind all day long. And some of them we are helpful to attend to, and some are not helpful to attend to. And then it's okay to just let some of those thoughts pass by. And so I really like to teach children really young this idea, because the truth is, as they get into middle school and as they're exposed to more information or things that they maybe didn't even welcome, but it just showed up on their screen or in their life, that they're trying to process and make sense of, or they've seen an image in a movie or a commercial for a movie that is just it's troubling to them and it's stressing them, and they're not sure what to do with it, or they're assuming that they're bad because of this image or thought that comes into their mind. That it's, if the more we attend to those things and start to wonder, am I bad? Or we apply shame or anxiety, and some secondary emotions to something that's not really, doesn't need our attention. It just is a pop-up thought. It's just an unhelpful thought, and it's better to let those float on by.
I love the conveyor belt. That's helpful. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to do that right now. We just, that's the other piece of it. Not that we need to give it attention or give everything attention, but we need to give everything attention right now, as those are not true. And so I love that. Thank you for that image.
Yes, it's true. Like sometimes I think about like fruit coming down there, and if it's a rotten piece, it's like eject, don't eat it. Just let that one just drop on off. But then, like you said, some of them we just let go by for now, and we can pick it up.
It's like the baggage at the carousel when you get off the plane. It's like it's coming back around again eventually.
Yeah.
If it needs to be addressed. So I love that. And we're also different, we're unique individuals. And at every age, we have a lot of things that are similar, but at every age, there's some different things. And we're unique, we're complex, intricate human beings. And I love thinking about that, because sometimes we lump everybody together, like everybody's ready for this particular topic right now. Like I'm thinking of elementary school or high school or middle school. And they may not be. And so, no two of us are alike, and we don't need to be. And yet sometimes we're forced to, almost not see ourselves as that unique individual and the treasure that we are. I always say, you're rare, you're one of a kind, you're, fearfully and wonderfully made, we talk about. And the key to success is really to find your value in yourself and who you are, who I am, and not try to become someone else or be like someone else or handle things the way someone else handles things, and search for that happiness in more of being my whole true self and dealing with these things. And what you're sharing is things that are things that will give all of us a little more hope and a little less hopelessness, and give us a little more context, I suppose, of those things that come across our path that we either need to address, and sometimes you can't just ignore certain things. You do need to address, and then knowing which those things are and the fact that we don't have to address them all, I think, is freeing.
Right. Yeah. And then being, get in a calm state to determine what do I need to do with this, or can I talk to somebody about it? Like, I like that it's okay to wonder about why am I feeling this way, or why, and as parents or caregivers or grandparents or business owners, to not react so much when a child is dysregulated or upset, or but it's okay wonder, what might be causing you to feel this way, and that, or just to acknowledge that it's just happening. Sometimes we're in a low state and we need to get activated, and then sometimes we're in an alarmed state and we need to downgrade, down-regulate is what they call it, to get into a calmer place. And it's just a lifelong process of figuring out what helps you to feel most centered in who you are, most confident about who you are, to be discovering and encouraging the gifts in children, that and just noticing it's okay. They don't have to be all alike, like you said, like just recognizing that we are unique human beings, mind, body, and spirit, that our bodies respond differently, each and every one of us, our minds, and then our personalities in different social situations. And so it's a wonderful gift to a child that someone might just pause and listen and understand where they're coming, help them to determine what it is that's making them feel out of sorts, and help them to seek the answers for that.
Like out of sorts, where that's a good term too. You're full of those terms, and I love all those things because it does help us to remember. It's like the little visuals and those kind of things. So thanks, and I know you've got some other things that you were saying, like activities or something that someone can do if they find themselves in that overwhelmed state.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I do for myself, but what are some of the suggestions you make for young people?
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's the one that they don't like to hear, and that all of us think is way too simple, but breathing is just such an important thing to make ourselves slow down and do. So I love just taking a deep breath, and you can do it with me right now. It's a gift to yourself just to breathe in and out. It's wonderful to make yourself breathe out even longer. Exhale and really release. And to breathe in calm and exhale your stress. I teach children box breathing, which is an inhale. You can kind of draw a box in air by breathing a kind of a cross for 4, holding for 2 as you go down, out for 4, and up for 2, just kind of holding, then in, holding for 2, out for 4. And sometimes it just helps, especially a child that's kind of in a panic response, like to be able to move your finger. It helps ground them, get out of that amygdala emotional reaction. A lot of what we do when we're talking to an individual who's upset and nothing's making sense, or maybe something has happened, they've broken something, or they're disappointed in a grade that they've gotten, or with some, a no, they've received a no and they really wanted a yes for that they could have that treat or that whatever TV. And so it's not going to help to try to talk ration into a child who is upset, or any individual. So being able to ground, and so another one is with your hand, just breathing up, tracing I call this a calm palm. You go up your thumb and then breathe out down to your palm, up to your index fingertip, and then down, breathing out, breathing in up to that middle finger and out, and in up to ring finger and out, and then up to pinky and out. And it just feels good. It's calming to your palm. It could be a little tickly, but, and looking around and finding 5 things to look at, and having a child or person tell you what those are, and then 4 things that you could touch, 3 that you're hearing, 2 that you're tasting, and then 1 that you're smelling, or in any of those order. It really helps to coach somebody through that if they're having a panic response or a really emotional response. And what's nice is you can teach children this, and they can help a friend, and they feel really empowered to be able to help their friends, because a lot of people right now are getting triggered into a real elevated heart rate, or these big emotional reactions. And so to give a child a way to do that, or to help them to squeeze something, or a lot of people are using essential oils, or there's a wonderful dough called Pinch Me Dough that is scented, and other ones that are scented, that just help to release that calming response in the body. Because once you can get back in your thinking brain again, you can really you can figure out, is this an emergency, or I like to teach children the size of a problem. There's generally 5 different sizes. One is I can shrug this off. It's a really small problem. I don't need to respond with a really big anything. I think I can shrug this off and move through it. 2 is I need to apply a strategy. This person beside me is really annoying me, or this smell that's near me is overpowering and is probably going to cause a reaction in me. I need to move to a different location, or turn the lights down. I need to apply a strategy. I need to, do something, but I can choose something to do in that size 2 problem. And I can do that. A 3 is I need an adult, or I need a friend, for those of us that are adults, I need another human to help me figure out what to do here. This is bigger than me. I've tried this, applying a strategy. It's not working. I need another human. And then 4 is this problem, it needs a professional. Maybe if it's a school child, like I've tried talking to my teacher or my parent. I think I need a principal involved, or I think I need a doctor. I've tried tending to this wound. And I might need a therapist or a doctor to look at this more deeply with me, or to tend to this wound, whether that's a body wound or an emotional wound. And then 5 is an emergency. And the funny thing is, when we talk about this with little kids, and especially middle schoolers, I'll say everything is a crisis. Miss Thompson, they'll call me like, yes, my friend didn't answer my text. That is a size 5. It is a crisis. And I'm like, okay, actually, let's call it what it really is. And, and we do a lot of laughing about that, and trying to apply the right size solution to the right size problem. So.
Oh, I love that. And I like the earlier when you said supersized problem, I wrote that down because in fact, yesterday I left Jack a note on on our kitchen counter, and it just said, I love you and you love me. Everything else is small potatoes, just for something, because there's always something going on, and you can really supersize it if you focus on it. The more I focus on you, the easier it is to see you, and everything else becomes peripheral. But I can't look at everything at once. And that's where I see, a lot of the, hyperactivity, but also the oversized problems that tend to want to dig into the brain and really make things out of balance and dysregulate, and all those things that you've given us great terms for. So, we are able to help kids in lots of different ways, and our household, certainly cleaning up the act, or cleaning up our own act, sometimes is what it takes. And so right now we're not necessarily talking to children that are going to get these great tips that you're giving like you give at school, but definitely I just did the hand thing myself. That was very soothing, and there is some oxytocin that also is released when when you're touched, or your touch. And so that was great. And just understanding that we have a negative onslaught of things on a regular basis around us. And if we take that same negativity and we focus on it, and we supersize all the problems that we see in our own life, then how are our kids actually going to find the solutions that they need, or at least the techniques of these kind of things? So the more that we as adults do them with our kids or grandkids, so a lot of times kids want to escape the issues, and that's where some real unhealthy behavior takes place. And so, when we move away from things, and I'm not talking about selling the house and moving to Belize. We always tease that that's what we're going to do. Like, I'm moving to Belize. I don't know why Belize, but anyway, so I'm talking mostly about the self-control and self-care that that we can do as individuals that affect those around us. And by the way, if you're in your office listening, your office staff would probably appreciate a little bit of that calming, in you too, because don't we sometimes dysregulate other people with our dysregulation, where we're supersizing an issue and then they respond to our supersized issue with a supersized, comeback or something else. So, I love that as far as parents and grandparents, obviously I'm, been a parent of 2 sons and have 3 grandkids. And, so I do feel like the term more is caught than taught. And, the opposite of that is don't do as I do as I say, and neither of those are very helpful when you start thinking about the fact that, more of what we do is seen by those that we love, and our kids and their core values really do come from those that are closest to them, right? Mm-hmm. So how helping families and, the kinds of things that can help the mom, the dad, the grandma, the grandpa, Nana, Papa in our case. And
and it does it make me think of, we're designed to mirror each other and to respond to each other. And so it is in order to stay calm and to stay hopeful, we do have to take good care of ourselves. And that might mean, like, I know for me, I have to keep calming, positive music flowing so that it's kind of radiating into my presence so that I can be able to regulate with a child and help them become calm and to stay positive. So it does take a lot of work as caregivers. Yeah.
I'm more calm just being here with you.
Oh, okay. I think it's the plant.
I feel calm. Thank you for that. So I've got a couple things I thought we would end as far as cleaning, the spring clean. And after I share each one, just jump in if there's something that comes to your mind. Okay, Carrie? So the first was building a balanced conversation. And I think those that open dialogue and heal hearts and provide the real solutions to the defined situation or the defined problem, wherever you find yourself. It's a kind of a one step at a time positive approach to life. And it's not just a one size fits all. It's really whatever's happening. Like you said, the size of the problem and the size of the solution, or however you said it so much better. But anyway, I love that. And challenges come and they go. But a lot of times just talking through things is what kids need, or what we all need. Like you said, another human sometimes, because we think we're going to be able to handle it ourselves, and sometimes we just can't. But life is full of challenges, but it's also full of overcoming them. And getting to the other side is what's important. And sometimes with kids and young people, they don't see that there's another side, and they don't realize that in a minute they'll feel totally different about that boy or that girl or that situation or whatever's triggering.
And be sure to share those stories. A lot of we don't talk through our difficulties with children very often, and they come out thinking that we have these perfect lives and that our day has gone perfectly. And it's just so wonderful to unpack at the end of the day at the dinner table or at family gatherings. Those moments where, wow, I encountered this challenge and here's how I got through it to the other side. So that is super important.
I love that. Instead of always pretending that, everything's great, and that lifestyle, the Facebook lifestyle, I guess, to some degree. The next one I have is, travel, because it's, spring break. You always think about spring cleaning and spring travels, but travel out of your world regularly into theirs. And I think, valuing them as an individual, listening to them, like you said, what do they love? What do they need? Where do they, go? How do they see things, and who are they spending time with, or why are those influencers so important to them? And instead, we a lot of times want to, just call them out, or, criticize, well, you shouldn't be doing that, or don't go there, or forbidding them from certain things, or grounding them, which sometimes is needed. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, just, really hearing them out and letting them feel valued in the discussion and in the dialogue. So travel out of your own problems and pain and kind of just listen to where they're at and what they're feeling. Mm-hmm. And then the next is toss the angry, mean-looking, frowny face. It's like that life is not going to hell in a handbasket. We are going to make it through. So I always say nobody looks good with a frown, and lose the grumpy Gus or the negative Nelly kind of attitude. Attitude's a little thing that makes a big difference. We've all heard those things. But if you're teen, usually that era, of life, tweens and teens, if they say something that pushes your button, then, kind of ask them the question, like similar to what you were saying. I say things like, can you tell me where's that coming from? Just in a kind of that was a calming way to say, now, where's that coming from? Or how dare you say that to me? Or just simply ask them to clarify their feelings. And that might mean sitting down for a minute and getting off, the ladder, changing the light bulb that, has to be changed right now. Well, maybe not. Maybe you need to sit down for a minute and hear what your child has to say to you and get on their level and just look them in the eyes and, listen to what they're saying. Right, Carrie?
Because you'll be surprised. They give you signs that they don't want to sit down with you. But the truth is, and they've told me behind closed doors, that they want to spend time with you and be asked and cared for. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good tip, too. Yeah. Ask. They want to be asked just like any of us do, right?
Yeah.
So, and the next is just our mouth, clean up the criticism. And I think sometimes their own personal self-loathing and peer pressure, and they're trying to fit in that proverbial mold, whether it's at school or at home or wherever, and or to feel like the cool kid, or any of those things, the bullying that happens, and some of those things, just hurtful comments sometimes, and they may be struggling just to be okay with themselves, and they have to deal with that maybe all day at school. They sure shouldn't have to deal with that at home. So that doesn't mean not correction. There's a certain amount of that or guidelines, but not in a critical, judgmental, hurtful kind of a way, right?
Mm-hmm. Very important.
And another one similar, rid the house of fear. Again, they could, hate school, or, the environment. It's usually the environment or the culture. It's not school. It's not the teaching, or the teachers. They're all working so hard, and we appreciate our schools, public, Christian, otherwise private. And, there's so much for them to look forward to, and the things that they're learning, and for all of us. I mean, I continue to learn. I love to learn, and science is a big, important thing to me. We were just talking about the brain before coming here, and but I think if we live in that amygdala, that fear that can take over, then it's depleting, and it's going to deplete everybody in our path pretty much, and could create lots of destruction. And then taking out the garbage, like rejection, and all of those pieces. I do lots of workshops that are on those topics, and just trying to feel good about ourselves, I think, is something that is a constant battle, just because we all measure ourselves against ourselves, that kind of thing. And then guilt and shame comes into that. So wipe out guilt and shame. You mentioned that because, trying to fit in, feeling overweight or feeling unsuccessful or not productive or, not as smart, or in skilled coaching and counseling, we know how to help people feel better, whether it's with techniques and breathing or just the calming atmosphere of that hour. I have clients that just, they've already reached their goals, but they still want to keep working with me. And so they're still going to sit with me and enjoy that space that just belongs to them. And I think sometimes that's just as valuable. And then just rearranging and freshening up. I think sometimes our schedules are so full, we need to take a look at things, maybe rearrange a few things, and avoiding the mundane, and have some fun. Life should be more fun, I think. Now, all work and no play is not good. And of course, all play and no work is bad too. But anyway, on those things, is there anything else or anything that you wanted to share before I have my closing thoughts?
I love it. I think, just staying, helping each other to just stay present in the moment, that we so often want to go back and try to fix things that didn't go the way we planned or wanted, or our mind is always jumping to what we need to do in order to be successful in the future or the next day. And so just how wonderful it is if we can all just help each other to be present. And I love the house cleaning steps are a great way to do that. Yeah.
That's good. Well, I really appreciate you being here. You're always a joy to be around, and certainly calming, and I'm sure calming for our listeners as well. And I appreciate the work that you do, and I know you carry a lot because I know you carry, the things with them, and that's why I always say I can't handle all the problems of the world, but I can carry a corner. I can carry a corner of the palette. So. The one thing I was going to end with today is going to be from Scripture. So Titus 2, 1 through 8 says, your job is to speak out on the things that make for solid doctrine. Guide older men into lives of temperance, dignity, and wisdom, into healthy faith, love, and endurance. Guide older women into lives of reverence so they end up as neither gossips or drunks, but models of goodness. By looking at them, the younger women will know how to love their husbands and children, be virtuous and pure, keep a good house, be good wives. We don't want anyone looking down on the gospel message because of our behavior. Also, guide the young men to live disciplined lives, but mostly show them all of this by doing it yourself. That's the part I have in bold here. And the incorruptible in your teaching, your words, solid and sane. I liked those words. And then Hebrews 10, 24 and 25 said, let us think of ways to motivate each other, motivate one another to acts of love and good works, and not let us neglect meeting together, but encourage one another. And then Galatians 6, 9 says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. So today's challenge for you is to create some core values into your home and family. Create a culture of kindness and clean up your mind and your mouth. Freshen up your environment. Start today. Start with yourself, your own personal care, core values. That's what matters. If you think their character needs worked on, maybe start on our own and work on that, and you'll be working on theirs. So there's help. I'm one of the tools. Carrie's one of the tools. I may not be the sharpest tool, but I am a tool. And that's not always a good thing to say, but I am one of the tools in the tool belt, and we can help. And I believe that all of us can help somebody in our life just by being a better human being. So that's my final thought for today. And you've been listening to Work Well with Stephanie Wolf, brought to you by the Whole Food Health Coach, LLC, where we make your goals our goals, and you're never alone on your wellness journey. I'd like to thank Carrie Thompson for being with us today and bringing such great practical steps for us to lean into for the month of spring cleaning. And for information about our corporate wellness programs, virtual classes, or our individual coaching programs, go to wholefoodhealthcoach.com. Our coaching is available virtually anywhere in the country. I'm Stephanie Wolf, wishing you well personally and professionally. See you next week live or on your favorite podcast channel. Until then, choose life.